On this beautiful fall afternoon, we are going to be talking about my fall essentials as far as makeup. So, I have a lot of product in front of me. Not only that, we're also going to be talking about kind of like the corresponding fall makeup trends that I'm seeing. A lot of these products you can kind of achieve that look with them. I am so unbelievably excited about makeup this fall. The tones, the textures, the techniques. So let's just jump right in. First of all, a trend that I am incredibly excited about, I started to see it personally happen a little bit into the summer. We all know that powder is really having a big moment. In general, just a really, really good finely milled powder. However, as far as foundation and base products go, I have personally been seeing people really enjoy kind of a silky satin look to their skin. So a launch that comes to mind for me is the new Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. Now, they describe this as hydrating, blurring, and a long wear radiant foundation. You know, I think so many brands come out with like these crazy claims. It's gonna be blurring and somehow dewy, but also skin-like. For me personally, I think it just can be kind of confusing. I don't say this lightly. This might be one of the best foundations I've ever used in my life. So I picked up the shade Y2. It's actually a pretty good shade for me. So I actually put this on only once before my big trip to Japan and Korea, which, by the way, I have a bunch of content that I filmed over there. So make sure you are subscribed if you are into K-beauty, Japanese beauty. I have been for years, so this was kind of like a dream trip for me. But here's the thing. I had tried this once before. I brought a trial, like a squeezy tube filled with this on my way over there because I was like, I just feel like I need to wear this foundation the whole time. My skin had looked incredible that first time that I wore it, and it lasted all day. So I have been testing this out throughout my travels, and when you find makeup that looks consistently amazing while you're traveling, to me, that is like the epitome of a test. Obviously, through long flights, you know, our skin can be really dry, really dehydrated, eating different food, just being out all day, not even taking a break. My skin looked so freaking good with this. Now, it is absolutely a really thin kind of texture. It gives immediate medium coverage. It is so serum like and thin without it being this kind of overly drying alcohol-based product that a lot of brands were coming out with when we started to see more serum foundations, but it gives this incredible soft blur. I think what makes it absolutely beautiful though is that it just does not look like a lot of product on your skin. It sits incredibly close on the skin, and a lot of people kind of ask follow-up questions to me about what does that mean, a product sitting very close on the skin. It's that you can't necessarily see it sitting like that kind of exaggerated texture of makeup sitting on skin. This sits so closely that you can't really see the makeup just sitting there, but you will notice the coverage, which is what you want. I am sweating right now. You actually probably, who knows if you can tell or not. This room doesn't have AC, and despite it being fall, it is still pretty humid where I am. It lasts so well and has looked consistently good every single time that I've worn it that for me, for example, like upcoming Sephora savings event, you know I'm picking up another one of this. It has been put through the ringer. This is absolutely a hit for me. The only foundation that I would say it's closest to that I have is the NARS Light Reflecting. I have a feeling if you like that one, you like this one. So if you're trying to get into this kind of silky skin look, a product sitting really closely on the skin, where it's not an overly dewy look, but it still has this element of freshness and clearness to the skin, this is absolutely a beautiful way to kind of hop onto this trend. You will kind of notice throughout any of the trends that I personally like this is my fall essentials video. This is an essential foundation for me this fall. But none of these are corresponding to a trend that I don't enjoy. Now next, we are seeing toasty cheeks. everywhere. Like really toasted fall makeup. I feel like every fall there is some sort of version of this, and we already have started to see, and I noticed this last fall, like more muted tones kind of coming back in the fall rather than these really bright kind of pumpkin-y colors that were really popular every fall. Like I'm gonna say like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it felt like every fall it was just very pumpkin-y, kind of like over the top warm tones. And now I've started to see when fall comes around, two kind of toasty looks come up. So they can actually be kind of like divided with these two colors from Say. Actually, this one too. Actually, this one's kind of in the middle of the two. We have like the bronzer trend that is continuing to happen now. So think about like Say Spicy. This has been one of my favorite bronzers of all time. Bronzer meaning blush bronzer hybrid, kind of that kind of toasty sunburnt kind of color. This is obviously going to look gorgeous in the fall. I mean, because it just is a very kind of autumnal color. But what's nice about a bronzer, especially kind of the shades that I love, is that they typically aren't orange. Like there's obviously more red kind of to this, which I think makes it really, really pretty, especially like right over the nose. You guys know how I feel about that kind of placement. But when I'm not seeing bronzer, I'm seeing more muted tones. Now, I just got back from, again, Japan and Korea. Basically, the nuance of their colors is insane, and they are really, really good at doing muted tones. But for me personally, I have been loving this shade Cutie from Say. This is the one that I have like right on my cheeks. Or you could even go with Lady. Now, this is really going to depend on your skin tone, the kind of look that you're going for. I love these blushes from Say because they just kind of blend so easily. They're really easy to kind of just swipe all over. So this is the shade Spicy. Then we have shade Cutie, which this is kind of something in between the shades that we're talking about. So you can see this has a little bit more brown. This has maybe a little bit more gray or even white probably to it. And then we have Lady, which is even more muted. So if you didn't want to go full muted, like the shade Lady, and you didn't want to go full spicy, you could go with the shade Cutie. I like that color because it's kind of in between them. But yeah, so these Say Dew blushes, they are not a new launch, but they still continue to be a product I just really, really adore. Now we're going to talk about another eye trend. Glitter really is back. And I think that for this fall, we are going to be seeing a lot more launches with really gorgeous, reflective, glossy glitter. We've been seeing this trend for quite a while. This was one of the trends I predicted at the beginning of the year would continue to happen, and obviously it still is happening. But I think that people really love to up the glitter around fall and winter. So this makeup essential is something that I bought when I was in Japan. And can I just say, when I say this is an essential, like I wish, yeah, I mean, hindsight is 2020. I wish that I spent a lot more time with this brand RMK from Japan. This shade, Showering Roses or something, that doesn't actually sound right, so it's probably not that, but I'm gonna leave a link and the actual name down below. You guys, this is by far one of the best wet glitter eyeshadows I have used in my life. If you are a fan of like the Natasha Denona kind of peachy pink glossy glitters, very, very reminiscent to those once they're on the eyes. This doesn't have like a wet texture, it's just, like an eyeshadow. But this is, I just don't even have the words. I have it on my eyes today. I can't. You guys, I'm rarely speechless about makeup because what I do here is talk about makeup. But this is one of the best glossy glitters I've ever used. And it has almost reignited my love of glossy glitters because over the summer, I kind of took a break from glitter a little bit and did a lot more matte looks. So I heard about this brand, and I'm gonna keep this quick because I'm gonna get more into this brand in my upcoming Japan haul, because I obviously bought a lot of beauty products in Japan, this being my absolute number one, honestly. So I kept seeing on the train ads all over for this brand, RMK, and they were almost like kind of QVC feeling, but there were these eyeshadows, and I kept looking at them, and I knew they were more of a luxury brand, and I was like, ah, they look really pretty. I saw them in store once, and the palettes that I had seen them advertise on the subway, I saw them in person, and I was like, holy crap, these are absolutely beautiful. They were all sold out, and I was like, I wonder if there is something to this brand. Well, on a whim, I went to their counter. My boyfriend actually encouraged me to go to the bottom of this mall. There was like a beauty department store-esque kind of thing going on down there. Stopped by their counter. By the way, the woman working the counter, one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life, and had the most incredible makeup. Like, if I wasn't like such a shy person and obviously awful, knows almost no Japanese, I would have wanted her to sit down, break down that entire look. I would have bought anything that that woman told me to buy. Anyway, long story short, I bought this eyeshadow after swatching it for like 2 seconds. She was like, do you want to put it on your eyes? I was like, no, I'm buying. I already know. Like, one good thing about, having tried a ton of makeup, other than like obviously trying a ton of makeup, it's really fun, is that you can tell pretty quickly the quality of a product and how it's going to look just from like getting your fingers into it, just from a hand swatch. It's obviously not the whole story. It never will be, but I just knew in my makeup gut that this was going to be amazing, and it has completely blown my mind. You will absolutely be seeing me purchase way more of these and talk way more about this brand because they're now like one of my new favorites. They're definitely on the pricier side as far as Asian beauty. Fully, absolutely worth the money though, this eyeshadow is for me. Absolutely excellent. So I feel like this time of the year, again, we really like to kind of up the sparkle a little bit, even like put on a little bit more makeup than maybe we have been in the summer. And for me, a wet glossy glitter is something that you can just add onto any look and just amplify it. So this one is absolutely beautiful. I'll give you guys just like a quick little swatch on the back of my hand. There it is. It has like this kind of peachy pink thing going on, but it's not overly peachy pink. Like, you see it there and you're like, oh, that's pretty pink. Isn't so obnoxiously peachy pink, which so many of these eyeshadows are. Like, they have insanely pink bases to them. This is not that. And the glitters are absolutely insane as far as the quality. Think of this almost as, if you guys are familiar with the Half Magic Puck, it is a similar color to the pinkish shade, but I mean, no offense to Half Magic. I love the glitter puck personally. Think of like a more refined version of that. Way smoother. It's not gritty. It's like that, but insanely smooth and refined. So we have one more trend for the eyes, but I want to jump into the lips because for me, personally, the cherry cola lips, this vibe continues to be a huge trend for this fall. You guys know I did a whole video about cherry cola and dirty cola from Fui, so I'm not going to stay here for too long. Just know that this is like my essential as far as this kind of look. But I think more broadly speaking about fall lips, the trend, we are seeing this kind of like cherry cola, blackened cherry color in general really coming back like full force this fall. And it's not like it ever really left, but fall is really the most iconic time to wear shades like this. So this is the cherry cola 30%. It was kind of going in and out of stock, so I'll leave a link down below. Hopefully they're back in stock. Speaking more broadly, I think that fall is an incredible time to find your signature lip. So it's not necessarily about just wearing a color that everyone else is wearing. Similar to what I mentioned in the kind of toasted blush trend, is figuring out the color that really is going to sing on you and that you personally enjoy. Not every shade is going to look good on everyone. It's really about finding what kind of tones you feel the best in and finding your signature fall lip, the lip that you can just throw on with any look and you know it's going to look good. And it's just going to make you feel festive. I think that that is, for me, my favorite part about fall makeup is the kind of festive feel of it. It makes you kind of excited. It makes you feel good to kind of get ready. Fall, I think, is really, really fun to kind of find that signature, slightly more glammed up look. So I think there are a couple of different ways you could do this. You could go for like something a little bit more red, purple, like that's when I would recommend the Cherry Cola Gloss. And I love this because, and I brought it with me too on my trip, but I brought this because it's a throw-on lip product. It always has this lovely plushness to it. But I wore it with this Stormy lip liner from Anastasia, and this is like a very different color for me. It's more of a like a brown gray, and I wanted to use this to kind of mute a little bit. Insanely flattering. The formula is deeply nourishing. It's just the best gloss formula I've ever tried. So to find this color that's like my perfect fall lip color in this, I'm not really going to be wearing much else this fall. You could go for something, again, a little bit more muted, maybe a little bit more gray or white, or you could go with something slightly more brown. And for me, I love to see that during the fall, something with a touch more brown. So Fui also does have their Dirty Cola. That's like the counterpart. If you want something more brown, I would go with one of the Dirty Cola intensities, either the 30% or the 70%. I'm just gonna pull this out because this is the first product that came to mind for me if you wanted to go more brown for the fall. It's the shade 1990 from Merit. This is a really good example in my opinion, and even on camera it looks slightly warmer than it actually is. This is a really good example, I think, of a color that some people might be a little bit afraid of, but is actually going to be a really lovely fall lip look. This is the Signature Lip Satin version. So if you don't want to necessarily go full matte for this time of year, which, I mean, the seasons change, our lips kind of take the brunt of a lot of it. This is a really, really good formula for dry lips that also isn't super shiny. I could see that easily also being an insane option, like looking really, really good. And last but not least, tight lining is coming back. Not just tight lining the upper lash line, but also the bottom, which will look good if you have more of a smoky, intense look. I personally find that tight lining the bottom really closes off my eyes and it's just not, I'm not a fan of it. However, I am really, really excited to see more people tight line the upper lash line because it immediately brings so much beautiful framing to the eyes. And once I started doing it, I really haven't stopped since. So I wanted to give you my specific essential for this right now, which is the Kosas Soul Gazer Intensifying Gel Eyeliner. The reason being is that it goes on so quickly, so smoothly, so intensely, but when it locks down, it locks down. It will give you a little wiggle room too to smudge, which is nice. So that little wing is this liner. Actually, this is the black, but I used the brown today and it's a deep brown. It's almost like a deep chocolate brown. It's the shade Allure. So you can see that's a pretty deep brown, but it's not as stark as black, which I personally like. You know, I'm not someone that is like really, really super overly excited about eyeliners. Like they're not necessarily the sexiest product out there, but when you find a good one, like this is really, it's really, really freaking good. And also zero tugging. Also, I love the grip touch. It like feels like that kind of grippy pencil. You know, those like plushy pencil grips that some of us used to use when we went to school, which is really comfortable. And again, the glide is just really incredible. What an underrated product from Kosas. It's very, very good. I would love to see or even check if they had like a really warm chocolate brown because I would immediately purchase that. So let's do a quick recap of my fall essentials. Obviously, this isn't a full face of makeup. These are just specific makeup trend driven products that I will be wearing all fall. Number one, the High Glam from Natasha Denona. This is insane. Hold on. Like, you guys just need to see this. It it's insane. I don't understand what was put into this to make it so good. So yeah, I will absolutely continue to wear this. I think it's one of the best foundations that I have used. Especially good for people that don't like a really thick foundation, but like the seamless, silky look that a lot of products that are thicker will give you. Next up, for the cheeks, for me personally, I love the Say Dew blushes. I have a good variety here too to kind of gauge whatever look I'm going for. If I want something that's more like toasty bronzer, then I will go with the shade Spicy. But again, honestly, the shade Cutie is, I think, a good mixture of being something a little toasty but not really, really muted. But honestly, the shade Lady, I've worn it and really enjoyed it as well. Next, my new glitter eyeshadow that I'm absolutely obsessed with from RMK. Again, I'll leave a link down below to it, but you guys, you're not going to be able to hear me shut up about this. I'm going to be buying other shades. Glitter is back. Glitter is so back for me. I don't even have the words for it. I really don't. My perfect cherry cola lip shade, 30% from Fui. I think it's so sexy. It just goes so well with fall clothes as well. And I always think about my signature fall lip, how it's going to play out into my clothing. If you guys wanted me to do a video about that, I would be happy to do that. But this kind of shade, I just feel like goes so well with like these brown tones that I typically wear this time of year. But again, this is my essential. This is the one that is my absolute favorite. I think some of you actually might like Dirty Cola more, depending on your skin tone and your vibe. And lastly, tight lining. It's so subtle, but it makes such an impact that this Kosas Soul Gazer eyeliner has really become an essential for me this fall. And I love it too because it's not just good for tight lining, which I always do anyway. It's really nice for my little flick, and my flick has become part of my signature fall look. Honestly, it's my signature all year round, let's be real. So I hope that you guys did enjoy the video. If you have questions about products, techniques, definitely let me know, but I would also love to know your fall makeup essentials. But overall, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.